Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Potsmoker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Potsmoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament, of the Hebrew Bible. I use the King James version of the Christian Bible to put together the prophecy of Israel from the scattered testimony of the Old Testament prophets. I did that because King James is a distant relative of mine, for one, and because I was born in a Lutheran family, so the King James Version of the Bible was what I was familiar with. So when I began studying the Bible, that was the Bible I studied, and it became the Book of Zion. It was where I created the Book of Zion, which is created entirely in Bible passages. So in order to publish the Book of Zion, I had to write the Potsmoker's Bible so that I could have so that my words could be used. So, when I put together the prophecy of Israel, I found a set of instructions on how to make first contact with the grave. So, I followed their directions. The final act that I was required to perform was to publish peace, which is exactly what I'm doing here on this video feed. And I'm doing it without money, because money is taboo in Zion. The only money you'll ever see in Zion is monopoly money. Games. That's where money belongs. It's nothing but a toy. So, I'm going to continue with my reading of the Potsmoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion. I'm on the 22nd chapter of the Potsmoker's Bible, which contains the 19th chapter of the book of Zion. It's called Now Will I Rise. And we start our dissertation today with Isaiah 17, 7 to 10. And it becomes Zion 19, 24 to 27. At that day shall a man look to his Maker, and his eyes shall have respect to the Holy One of Israel. And he shall not look to the altars, the work of his hands, neither shall respect that which his fingers have made, neither the groves nor the images. In that day shall his strong cities be as a forsaken bow, and the uppermost branch, which they left because of the children of Israel, and there shall be devastation. Because thou hast forgotten the God of thy salvation, and hast not been mindful of the rock of thy strength. Therefore thou shalt plant pleasant plants, and set them in strange slopes. At that day, it says, shall a man look to his Maker, and his eyes shall have respect to the Holy One of Israel. When we get high and use other drugs, we are honoring God. We don't know that it's God that we feel, but we honor that feeling every time we defy the state and make the connection to God through drugs. We choose the God over the state. The Holy One of Israel is pot. The use of this single substance changes everything for the user. We connect. And he shall not look to the altars, to the work of his hands, neither shall respect that which his fingers have made, neither the groves nor the images. Our current religions, according to prophecy, are all idol worshippers. The gods of earth are idols. Each religion has its man-made object that is worshipped. But it's not just the use of idols. We seem to put far too great a value on what we make. We jump at every new toy that goes on the market. And it's killing us. And every other thing on the planet, too. New stuff isn't a sin. But when the methods of creating useless junk does true damage to the atmosphere, then there's a problem. Do we really need all of those shiny baubles? Is it worth the high temperatures that are coming? Now we are making ourselves a deep, dark grave in the name of trinkets. Our consumer society cannot be maintained. The earth is only so big. It can only handle so much garbage, so much pollution, before it gets too clogged up with our needless junk. If we stopped creating needless junk today, it really wouldn't matter. We would still be gifting our grandchildren with an unlivable situation. We should have changed our polluting ways back in the 70s when it could have helped, but instead, we created more useless junk at the cost of our grandchildren's future. Now, all we can do is create a safe shelter to weather the coming storms and be sure that they are prepared for the worst that can happen in a warming world. All of our misuse of the planet's resources has forced us to prepare for things that we have created, namely climate change. In that day shall his strong cities be as a forsaken bow, and the uppermost branches which they left because of the children of Israel, and there shall be devastation. Our entire society is geared towards cities, and with proper implementation of ethical practices, cities could be enjoyed. But we create waste. We maintain our city structure on cheap, short term profit, which is creating climate change. At once our ability to grow and transport food breaks down, our cities will be death traps. Our society will be unable to maintain the city structure. Even as we speak, or as I write, our cities are being undermined in the long term. Drought, bad weather, heat waves, the inability to keep the power running at peak periods like extreme temperatures. So the infrastructure of our cities are breaking down, even now. There are hundreds of ways society could break down, and we are experiencing most of them. Oil is becoming scarce, and it's killing us. Weather is creating problems in everything, especially our food chain. Economic breakdown looms, yeah, as the stock market soars. It goes higher and higher. The government is so deep in debt that they have to create ways to keep running. And those are just a few examples of how our cities are doomed. The prophecy says that because of the children of Israel, the cities will be abandoned, and that there will be devastation. The exodus of Zion, the children of Israel, will force many factories and businesses to close for lack of a workforce. The actual labor force of the nations will simply walk away from their moneyed jobs to go build a new society for themselves. And that will be the reason the cities will be abandoned. Because thou hast forsaken the God of thy salvation, and hast not been mindful of the rock of thy strength. Therefore thou shalt plant pleasant plants, and set them with strange slopes. I believe the last line describes our use of hydroponics. We set our plants with strange slopes. We set them in tanks or slips of nutrient-rich water. We have to do this because our society had ignored the warnings of Scripture that foretold the result of not needing the warnings of the rock of our strength. The rock of our strength, I believe, means our ancient cuneiform tablets. That was the source of our known sacred text. Our sacred writings teach us to be careful of our use of technology because misuse will end it all, and so it ends. The Torah and every other sacred text known to mankind has warned us that we must use our planet wisely. or suffer its wrath. Our forgotten ancestors learned that lesson by creating the deluge that we know of as the flood, a truly horrific event that almost ended our species. Now that we have forgotten the lessons of the flood, we have repeated it. We let our desires supersede our wisdom. Money has blinded us to the destruction we're causing in its pursuit. We have crossed the line that can't be uncrossed. We can't stop natural cycles, and we've ignored what happened once before. Which leads us to Lamentations 4:11, which is Zion 19:28. The Lord hath accomplished his fury. He hath poured out his fierce anger, and hath kindled a fire in Zion, and it hath devoured the foundations thereof. The Lord's fury, the anger, and anger are played out. The wicked have forced the creation of Zion. The fire of the eternal high has been enacted. The foundations of society have been taken away. The anger of the Lord is the result of the government's sin. Greed has created the destruction of the greedy. The plan has worked. It's done. January 6th. Isaiah 4:3-5 becomes Zion 19:29-31. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof, by the spirit of judgment, and by the spirit of burning. And the Lord will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion, and upon all of her assemblies, a cloud and smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night, for upon all of the glories shall be a defense. I love this one. Isaiah 4:3-5. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion, which is America, and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy. Now the Zionites are the people who go camping. Even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. This is talking about the Israelites. On the great day of redemption, when first contact is made, the peoples of Zion and Jerusalem will be counted. These people, who are the blooded Jews and the campers of Zion, are holy. They have become the realization of the human race. We are separate from other races of men, set aside to serve life. That's what being holy means, to serve. The Israelites serve the Gentiles, the non-pot smoking people. The priests are the Zionites who use drugs. Our sacred nature is to embody the God. That's why we're holy. We become God so that God may speak directly to you. The Jewish family are sacred because they are the bearers of sacred knowledge, the blood of my blood. They hold the genome of the gray. That DNA was used to revive the gray race. What is more holy than the true living holy grail of Israel? So the Jewish bloodline was used to carry the purest gray DNA, and the children of Israel, of Zion, were created to be the hosts, the most high holy priests of the earth. I'm going to leave off there for today, and we'll take up next time where we left off. May the great watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it. Make that your guilt choice when we go camping. If you use drugs, stay happy and high. You have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know I've read the book. If you don't get high, if you want to know God, well, then go find a Zionite. My name is Zion, and I love you way too much to say goodbye, so I'll say later now.